Welcome back after the break. Pastor Isaac, we've been dealing about a very important topic, most interesting book I would say. Several books interesting, and the Bible itself is interesting, but this is a kind of a book which is very unique in its own position about Prophet Jeremiah. And before the break you were talking about so many things on calling. Just like to start with another question, a very personal question. When we approach God, there are two ways of approaching it. One is we fix something and then we ask God to bless it. Sometimes what we ask we don't get. God plans something else different, because there's a verse as we commonly say, my plans are not your plans. So how do we deal with this? Just for the benefit of viewers, there are many viewers who struggle with this question. I want this, I'm praying and asking God for this. How do we connect this question with the life of Jeremiah, or what's your take on that?
God does nothing meaninglessly. I think this is something we should all keep in mind. I often say, even your appearance has a purpose.
Formation.
Everything.
Because before the break you said, even before you were formed, I knew.
I knew you, right? That's the word God told Jeremiah. So even every cell in your body, your skin color, your family background, every part of you, God has put for a purpose which we may not be aware of, but He is aware of.
Right.
So in the life of Jeremiah, he had good things going on, but he also went through pain. God told Jeremiah, you're not supposed to get married to the woman you like, because God had a purpose for it.
Must have been very hard.
Very, very difficult. God never said life will be easy. See, we come many a times having presuppositions. The Lord bless you, the Lord keep you. Yes. Under which context? The Lord will bless you for His purpose. The Lord will take away certain things for a purpose. The Lord will withhold for a season and give it later for a season.
But is there also a question, was God a little bit harsh to Jeremiah? When you look at the context, purpose is right. It looks that the sacrifice, but how do we really understand the depth in which God is positioning us? That's a struggle which I feel many of us have. How would you respond to that?
Let me take you to the one who experienced the greatest pain, Jesus Christ, who went to the cross having committed no sin. And God allowed that pain because of a purpose. This program is about purpose of life. And that's the same thing, that God allows pain in your life and my life. And pain differs from person to person. Physical pain, emotional pain, financial pain, family problems, many kinds. But you have to say, okay, Lord, I am in this pain, but I am not alone. Because the Bible promises, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So even in Jeremiah's life, he is taken from a place of obscurity to a place where, because he spoke the truth, the nation still had hope. And today God is saying, there are many who will be willing to speak lies, but are you willing to speak the truth? You will have to pay a price for it, but great will be your reward. See, rewards are on two parts. One is, great is your reward in heaven. But even before we get to heaven, the joy to say, one life to live, I lived as a person of integrity. I think those who live a life of integrity alone will have that joy. Those who cut corners, those who cheat, those who are in secret sins will not. I think the motivation for Jeremiah, every morning he got up and there were storms in his life, he still put his head high and he said, God is with me, I'm doing the right thing. That motivation to say, okay, Lord, I will march forward. Today God is calling many young men and young women to say, can you put your head high and march forward with God? Life will be struggling. It will have its struggles, but you can still say, one life I will live for the glory of God. That's a great lesson we can learn from the life of Jeremiah.
He is also called the weeping prophet.
Yes.
Very interesting, a weeping prophet. It takes a prophet to have that name. What's your take on that?
Generally, I use this simple example. Generally, our lives are many times centered around us, me, myself, and I. I use this example of, if you are given a group photo, whose picture are you going to first see?
Where you stand.
Exactly, right? Where am I? Did I smile?
Correct.
How do I look in comparison to others? So many a times we zero in on to us, and we keep us as the center, and we use it as a point of reference. Jeremiah's uniqueness and why he got the name weeping prophet is because he said, God, I don't care about myself. I have great love and burden for those around me. So many a times Jeremiah wept and prayed for the perishing people around him. And that is the uniqueness of Jeremiah, a man full of compassion. And that is how he was a man of God. Jeremiah is not only because of his sermons, his poetry, and his great talks, but Jeremiah was a man filled with compassion. Not only I should be blessed by God, I want others to come out of their bondage and have the favor of God. That was the uniqueness of Jeremiah's life.
Looking at some passages, though God is saying that the people are stubborn, He's still sending him again, still giving Jeremiah the word. So do we then conclude, how do we look at that whole positioning of God's love for His people? Because one side you feel God is hurt, one side He wants Jeremiah to go.
Right.
In a stroke He could have wiped them off. Because I remember in the time when Moses was there, he gets angry.
Right.
And he tells Moses, you move away, I will finish them off.
Yeah.
But Moses pleads.
Right.
That because of that one man pleading, he allows.
Yeah.
How do you see that context to this context?
If you look at the book of Jeremiah and find a fascinating verse there where Jeremiah is talking about how God has a plan even for those who are struggling and suffering. Would you turn to Jeremiah 12:5? If you have run with the footmen and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with horses? And if in the land of peace in which you trusted they wearied you, then how will you do in the footplain of the Jordan? And verse 7 says, I have forsaken my house, I have left my heritage, I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. He goes on and talks about how the people are rebellious, and God says, no, they will be rebellious, but I want you to still keep going. I want you to keep going. And Jeremiah was one who not only understood the pain of the people, Jeremiah was one who understood the heartbeat of God. Today God is asking the same question. Do we understand the heartbeat of God? Do we understand how He is aching for every soul that is going for eternal destruction? And can you and I say, I will be a person who will weep and intercede for the lost? So Jeremiah's message is so relevant today because God of Jeremiah was not happy in pampering Jeremiah. God had a purpose for Jeremiah. In the same way today, God, we all say, Lord, bless me, provide for me, give me. God says, I have something better. More than giving for you and blessing you, I want to use you. I want to use you. Are you and I willing to be used by God? Blessed by God, yes. Used by God, that's a higher calling.
Very interesting verse, Pastor Isaac, you brought it in 12 verse, the 6 and 7, very interesting. One verse which strikes me a lot when I read Jeremiah is Jeremiah 17 verse 7. 17:7 says, blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose trust is the Lord, for he will be like a tree planted by the waters that extends its roots by a stream and will not fear when the heat comes, but its leaves will be green, and it will not be anxious in a year of drought, nor cease to yield fruit. Amidst chaos, this comes. How do we look at this, and what kind of promise can we tell our viewers amidst confusion? God is also giving this. How do you respond to that, Pastor?
Look at the previous verses and you will get the answer. Jeremiah 17:5. Thus says the Lord, cursed is the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his strength, whose heart departs from the Lord. For he shall be like a shrub in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land which is not inhabited. There are two kinds. Either you trust in the Lord and reap the harvest, or depart from the Lord and face the consequences. So God is saying, I want to give you. See, many a times Satan and the world around wants to portray the picture as if God is so, hard-hearted that He will not give us blessings. You have to go and plead and beg, and only God will give. No. Actually, the Bible, especially in the book of Jeremiah, portrays the other side. It presents God as one who is waiting to bless. But there is a condition. The condition is you have to trust God, depart from evil, and then He will give you. So the verse that you mentioned, there is that word which is also found in Matthew's Gospel chapter 5. Blessed is the man. Blessed is the man. We all talked about it as the Beatitudes, right? Blessed are the pure in heart, and blessed, and you shall inherit the kingdom of God. It's blessed, 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 blessed. The same verse is mentioned in Jeremiah 17:7. Blessed is the man.
A very unique promise.
Yes.
But as you rightly said, a precondition is there.
Absolutely.
So with this precondition, a blessing is there. Since we are short of time, for those who are looking at today's situations and saying, you know what, I'm not like Prophet Jeremiah. I can't take that stand. But you know what, I want to make a difference. I want to understand God's heartbeat. I want to stand out. Last 2 minutes, what would you say to them?
I would say, don't look at Jeremiah as your role model. Look to the God of Jeremiah. Because many a times we look at someone who has achieved great things and we say, oh my goodness, I cannot be like Abraham, I cannot be like David, I cannot be like Jeremiah. And God says He doesn't want you to be like Jeremiah, but the God of Jeremiah is your God. And what we read in Jeremiah 1:5 is true for your life and my life. I always tell people the best place to be thankful to God is the mirror. Why the mirror? Because that's where you see your appearance, right? How many times do we stand before a mirror and we say, Lord, thank you that you made this person. You gave me this intellect. You gave me this heart. You have given me this day that I am alive. You have given me all that I have. And the God of Jeremiah says, He has formed you. He has knit you, as we read in Psalm 139, that you and I are fearfully and wonderfully made. And just like God had a purpose in Jeremiah's life, God has a purpose for every human being He created. We will know it when we turn to God.
Thank you, Pastor, for explaining so much in depth. We will again meet in another interesting program of understanding the book of Jeremiah, but deeply appreciate the time you gave.
Thank you for having me.
Friends, it's been a pleasure to connect with you all. Please stay tuned every week, Purpose of Life. In the next program, we will study some more details on this wonderful book called the Book of Jeremiah.